Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking the video. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And we're talking about 44 in this first episode. I mean, there's so much hype going into this season. I've heard so much from production, from Jeff, from the players on this season about how great this season is. And I'm very excited for this first episode because of it. We're going to look at some interviews that show Jeff specifically talking about the first episode and what its contents will be. It really gets you really excited because it seems like this season is going to be another David versus Goliath amazing season. In this first episode, Jeff talks about how there's going to be a crazy tribal, that there's going to be some crazy gameplay going on. But the first thing he talks about, and the first thing that I want to look at here, is medevacs. He says that there's a record number of medical visits. And so essentially what this means is there's going to be a lot of Dr. Joe on the island. And so let's look at this trailer snippet, which actually shows somebody on the ground. Of course, in the trailer from last season's finale, we saw people falling off cliffs and stuff. But this to me is very curious because it specifically shows what we believe to be Bruce laying on the ground during the first challenge of this season.
Everybody stop! Medical! Still with us, right?
Can you open your eyes for me?
Keep breathing.
Oh my God.
If this doesn't bond us, I don't know what will.
So yeah, it's definitely intense. My first question is Bruce actually gone, or is he just going down here and then he'll get back up and come back? Now, at first I was trying to be positive, saying, well, would they really show a medevac in the trailer? That's like a little bit spoilery. But then I thought, like, he says, can you open your eyes? Usually when we see someone unconscious, they don't make it on the show. To go unconscious, there has to be something wrong, and it's very rare that someone who's unconscious is going to come back into the show. So it's definitely questionable. And Jeff says here that it's the most medical visits in a premiere episode, so which leads me to believe that there's going to be more, maybe not in this challenge specifically, but of course we're getting Bruce getting hurt. Maybe the guy who fell off the rocks in the preview from last season's finale is also in the premiere episode. It's pretty nuts, like, to see this many visits, and it's probably a third one too, which is nuts. So we're going to see at least 3, but there's definitely more evidence of craziness going on in this first episode because Jeff Probst tells us in a TikTok of his that this episode is going to have a lot of stuff.
All right, I'm going to give you 4 things to look for in the premiere of Survivor 44. Number 1, the players. Dynamic, entertaining, fun and funny, and they know how to play the game. Number 2, new way to get an idol. It's public. It's complicated. Number 3, put it right here, medical. More medical visits than any other single episode in the history of Survivor. And number 4, right here, that first tribal council. For it being episode 1 and the game just starting, it's pretty wacky. Hope you enjoy the premiere of Survivor 44.
All right, let's talk about these points. So the first one to me was basically just him saying the cast is really good. Really the person to look for here is Carson. I think Carson is going to be that main person who is your fan favorite Christian type. I've constantly compared him to Christian because I think for this season to have a fighting chance with, to me, what seems like not the most interesting cast on paper, you're going to need a great narrator. I think that was very much how David vs. Goliath went. The cast on paper was not that great. Like Alec, like on paper, is Alec anything? He's just kind of like a nobody. But it ended up great because all of the pieces mixed together, partly because, you know, Christian was there to narrate the entire season and what was going on, along with other players as well. And so I feel like Carson is going to have to be this person in order for the season to excel. As far as dynamic gameplay goes, I mean, you kind of expect that from a modern day season. That's kind of what modern day Survivor does very, very well, as they have people kind of backstabbing and playing hard. But what you want to see is the edit here. I'm really looking at the edit here. The edit has to be on point, because in modern Survivor, you're always going to have the gameplay. But what's been lacking the past 2 seasons, at least in consistency, is a good edit. So when someone gets booted, are we shown why? Or is it just completely confusing? Or is it way too obvious that they're going? That's also a problem. So of course we have a lot of problems with editing in this new era, and hopefully they can avoid that with this new quote unquote amazing season. Okay, so the second thing that Jeff was hinting towards, I actually know all about, and it was on Inside Survivor almost a year ago. At this point, it feels like it was on a while ago. About last summer is when we kind of discovered this leak. But apparently what this advantage slash twist is the way to get idols in the season, which is through an idol cage. The idol cage basically is something in the middle of camp. It's publicly announced, and players have to somehow like get the clue, steal it, and swap it out in some way with the fake idol. It's very confusing, and it involves using fake idols to trick out your tribe members and taking risks to get it. It seems fun. I've never really had a problem with having to find idols in public. I never really had a problem with finding idols harder. And so I think this is a good idea. Hopefully it's good in execution, but we'll see. The third thing that he talked about, we kind of already touched on with the whole medevac situation. Obviously, just to go over, we know that Bruce is going to have an incident. We know that the guy who fell off the cliff in the trailer is going to have a medical problem. We believe that's Matthew, but we don't know for sure. And we don't know who the third or fourth person would be, because obviously he said the most in any episode ever. So it has to be at least 3 or 4 visits, I'm guessing, which is crazy. I don't know how they're going to fit that into one episode. Then again, it is 2 hours. And so we're going to have 3 of those. So expect some injuries, I guess. And the last point that Jeff makes is about the crazy tribal that's going to come. Now, when he says crazy, my mind immediately goes to 41, when we had a crazy kind of live tribal where JD stood up and kind of switched things up. May not have saved himself because I don't think he was ever really in trouble, but at least it seemed that way. It was a fun first episode. One of the 2 better episodes from 41, along with that merge episode. And so I'm expecting a live tribal here. I really am. I'd be kind of disappointed if we don't get that. And when he says wacky, of course, that really hints at a live tribal. Honestly, I don't mind the live tribals as long as we know enough info, but also not too much. I want to know, what's going on, who's a possibility to go, and maybe just a slight little hint at someone, making a mistake, not getting into the right conversation. Don't actually tell me like who's gonna go, but make it clear enough so that I'm not absolutely confused after the episode's over. And so I think that's probably going to happen in this episode. I'm looking at the tribe divisions right now, and for me, the green Soka tribe with Claire and Franny and Heidi, Danny, Josh, they to me look like tons of fun strategically. They all seem like pretty big super fans, except for maybe Heidi. They all seem like strategical players, and that I could totally see that being a very messy tribal. So I think it's probably them if the tribal is a live, crazy tribal. Overall, I've got my hopes up in the past with these seasons, and of course I don't want to be let down, so I'm obviously taking this production, habber jabber about this great season with a grain of salt, but at the same time, has production ever done this with a new era season so far in the past 4 seasons? They have not. So I am hopeful that this could spell, the light coming for this new era of Survivor. Even if it's just for one good season that they got really lucky with, I'll take it. I'll take that over another 41. Other than that, I will see you guys at the live show after the premiere ends. Me and my friends go live and we talk about the episode, what happened, our parts that we hated, our parts that we loved, all of it. We'll be live on my channel for that. Again, none of this happens without you guys. Without you guys, I'm just a weird guy speaking in a weird microphone. That's what I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.